confounding. So it's best to
Sure.
have it floated in a Faraday cage or not have it in
Yes.
a weed.
I'm not so worried about that because I just assume that
It's just a
if they want to
principle
spy,
that it's me.
yeah,
It's
look,
just grr.
yeah, it's not cool, but it's never been that cool. So maybe in the future it'll be cool. So on the post that I wrote, I talked about the hero's journey and courage, and I'd like to start with that. The other day I was with Mark and Daniel, and there were some other guys there, and this poor chap had his wheel clamped and he had to pay this money, and he'd been doing, he'd sort of been dealing with them for a while, and then another guy that they had helped was pounced on by all these cops because he split up with his partner and wasn't playing ball with the lawyers, and he didn't go to the court hearings. I think he missed 3, and it was a huge thing. Like, they came out of nowhere, and his ex was there in the bushes pointing. It was amazing, like a SWAT team thing. And I hope to be able to talk to him, because I'd like to say, look, all right, so they want you to go to court, they want to hear what you've got to say, but there's an issue of conduct. They could have just knocked on his door during the day. So he's got something on them. When you have a gang of armed police coming at you at night, they banged on his door at 2 in the morning one time as well. It's this behaviour that he needs to begin with a complaint. And then, they can go on about the separation and do all that, but he needs to focus on the conduct. And I think in the paper has there been a commission into police behaviour lately? I thought I saw in the thing, it's quite a big thing at the moment, police conduct. There might be an inquiry into it. So, we're probably seeing a lot of this going on around when people are experiencing things. Heavy-handedness. Basically, the ante is being upped, So, the hero's journey, when you read the myths are about you, because the hero gets pummeled. It's going to test your mettle. And the hero comes out with something valuable to bring back to his community, his or her community, or does something of value. But this journey, it can be really tough. And it's really important that people understand what you're up against when you don't want to just play ball with authority. Some people don't get a choice because they can be targeted. And I think I kind of want to maybe get a little idea from everyone, just a few comments on how they feel about this path or this journey in terms of the self and maybe the sense of where they're coming from, or your own heroic nature. So let's start with you, Marina. So I know you've got a lot of fear.
I do, yeah. If I'm honest, I don't think I have the courage or the confidence yet to face them face to face. I do my best. I don't know how I'd be under pressure. I don't know if that helps.
You can't know. It's like being at school. The teacher then points at you and starts to humiliate you. It's just happening. And anyway, we'll move on.
John, that fear thing's interesting. It's, I think with baby steps and knowledge, just gently treading the water, you can overcome little obstacles and gain and take big ones, which I've found. And through networking with people and finding out what they're up to in court and what the goss is going around, it all starts to sort of accumulate and become pretty empowering.
Yeah.
I felt. Yeah. I drive around with unregistered with dodgy plates. Out of Victoria's a lot easier than New South Wales. It's been about 2-3 years until they finally cracked it and said they might transfer your points from Flyers Victoria to Vic Roads and then lose the licence. But now I've just got to ask the question their authority when they get the right to do that. And
Yep.
see how it pans out.
Okay. So you've been driving around unregistered?
Yeah, I've got like
with
4 or 5 cars and cheap cars and a few motorbikes, and you just can't afford to register anything. So, and they eventually pay for themselves after a year or two. In the rego and things like that. But I haven't had any accidents that have caused any damage. They're all victims' crimes. And the more you question, the more suspicious you get about all the so-called colour of laws and things. So,
Yeah, if it was being done properly, it would be okay. But
yeah, my brother doesn't get it. He said, well, why are you speeding? Look, I'm not speeding all the time, but if there's an instance where I do it, it's where I think it's reasonably safe and no one's in danger, and but he won't question anything. It will probably be through it. Everyone thinks we're a bit on the nuts of it.
Different strokes for different folks.
Yeah. But then when you start looking at how dodgy the Australia Act is, and I got into it with the speeding tickets and just general minor things, but it's a pretty deep, it just pretends through the journey.
All right.
Yeah, I find it all really overwhelming and just like really complicated. I'm like, what? But yeah, I just want to learn like baby steps, like this John.
Yeah.
Like John said, just so I can kind of start building knowledge. Like I've got so far I've got a private foundation, but that's all I've done so far. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, there's some really simple stuff. So what I'm interested with this forum is the simplest.
Yeah.
What's the basics I need, and then from there, the bigger the details can fit in.
Yeah, because I've been to, I don't know if anyone knows Mark Patelic, but I've been to like 2 of his lectures, and like he will talk, and then he will talk and go into this random tangent and just go round in circles. Whereas I just want someone who can tell me, because I know there's more than one method to approach these things, just something simple, and just focus on that. And then maybe focus on this one, and not like, because everyone who's like been doing this for like 20 years is just, they just bombard you with information, and you're just like going, what? Like, I'm more confused than was when I arrived.
Yeah. I hear you, sister.
I've come from a business background, so I hated paying tax for 20 odd years.
Yep.
And set up a company, family trust, don't pay tax. So, because I hate tax paying to governments and stuff like that. So, and then my hands gave up and I had to give up the business, and then I'm back into the shit race again. So, Nick and I have had many talks, but I'm going off grid. So, no power, no gas, no electricity, no water. That's my aim. Out in Mount Everett, so half an acre.
Yeah.
Grow my own food, do all that sort of stuff. In the suburbs, can be done.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as going with regos, stay off the radar. Since the cops are on you, that's it. They call it shit.
Yeah.
They know shit. We've thought, but it's just they don't know who they work for. They don't know that they work for a corporation. Police stations are owned by big businesses, banks, maybe even Microsoft. They own a few police stations around the world.
just for your interest, to deal with the question that Daryl said to use when you go into court, you ask, because it's been all corporatised, so write this down, you ask, does this court recognise the Commonwealth Constitution of Australia? And you can ask the judge, do you work under the Constitution?
So it's the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Australia?
Yep. Which is linked to the United Kingdom. So Australia is a territory of the United Kingdom, the Commonwealth. We're not a republic.
That quorum non juris question is pretty interesting.
Yep.
Daryl's point.
What's sort of linked, I think. And they have to say yes, and if they don't, you just split.
Okay.
Yeah. Because otherwise you have no rights. The reason why they have to work with the Constitution, because if they don't, your rights, that's where your rights are. They're all sort of contained in that book. I mean, there's other documents that have more rights. So if they don't recognise certain things, you just say, well, then I have no rights here, and you know, I have no business here. You know, is this a corporate court or something? But you just leave. But they have to say yes. And the other thing you can ask is, are you going to protect my fiduciary rights? Look up that word, fiduciary. Meaning, are you going to look after my rights, judge? So they're obliged to do that, and they've sworn an oath. All police and magistrates have sworn an oath. Now, an oath is a serious thing. It's meant to be anyway. You ought not to swear an oath lightly. Anyway, this path for you. Maybe if you could tell us something, what it means for you, or maybe a hero's journey, how you feel.
There's a group that uses the human rights in 2006 Victoria. They use section 5. That puts you into the jurisdiction of the Constitution.
Say that again.
Puts you in the jurisdiction of the Constitution.
What does?
Section 5 of the Human Rights and Responsibilities Act.
The Human Rights.
Human Rights and Responsibilities Act, 2006.
Okay. Cool. We'll write that down.
Section 5, yeah. You have to repeat that every time they walk out of the court and come back in.
Ah, yeah, when
Because they go back to their own jurisdiction and they come back in.
Right.
They
Say that again,
Can
please.
you repeat that, sorry, because they were making noise out.
The Human Rights and Responsibilities Act 2006, Victoria.
Yeah.
We can use that in court. You have to just speak over them if you have to. They don't want to hear about it.
Yep.
It's won about probably 5 or 6 times recently, last few weeks, different people.
Yep.
Won different court cases.
So what's the question? How do you put it?
Well, it puts you into the jurisdiction of the Constitution.
Sure. So
Section 5.
So you ask them, or you
No, you
state,
have to read
or
it out. Read it out. No, you tell them. You don't ask them.
Okay.
You have to quote it.
Yeah. And you just keep talking over until they tell you to shut up or we're going to get security.
And what is it? Section what?
Section 5.
Section 5.
And if they adjourn it or walk out and come back in, you have to say it all over again. Because then it puts them back into their own jurisdiction.
Yeah, it's a little trick they have.
Yeah. And
So
they
when
try
you
and
see
read
them
all
sometimes
day,
walk out of a court and back in, they're trying to reset things.
Change
or go to
jurisdictions.
the courtroom or whatever it is.
They can only do it 3 times.
Can they?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They come if they go out and come in 3 times, and it gets to a sticky situation, they literally will not be a judge anymore.
Yep.
They lose honour, and if you're not honourable, you can't be a judge.
Yeah.
So
So
it
all
gets very,
those...
very serious very quickly if they start doing that.
Pardon?
It gets very serious very quickly if they start doing that,
Yeah.
because they're really upping the ante.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's true what you
Is
said.
it
That's
very
what they've been
common?
doing.
Yeah.
They do it twice, and then they do adjourn it another day.
Yeah, yeah.
And you've got to come
It's
back
too
with
hard.
it. If you don't come back with it, then it's the next day. If you don't come back with it, you lose. can't win with their system, I don't think.
Jodie?
After standing up to the police and asking them questions when they wanted to breathalyse me, they have really upped the ante. They've affected my car. So I've been talking with Thomas about writing a letter, and I'm feeling like really targeted at the moment. I'm not feeling good about it at all, because now I've got to do a gig tomorrow night in Hawthorne, so I've got to plan myself, knowing that my car's now defected. I've got to plan my journey in there, so if I do get pulled over and I do stand up to them again, I'm not late for my gig. So this is really kind of affecting my life immediately at the moment, so I'm feeling a bit disheartened actually. I'm not giving up, it's just, like you said, it's a really hard road, and especially because I don't have enough experience or knowledge in it yet. It's pretty scary for a female, without sounding like, woe me, but I mean, I had 4 of them in my face, abusive and aggressive, shoving the breathalyzer in my face as I kept asking them questions.
Yeah.
So, and then basically the sergeant, who I knew, said, well, we'll get you on your tail light then, because we've got to get you on something, because you wasted our time.
Make sure your car's roadworthy.
Yeah, well, I'm getting it fixed. We've got to order it in. It's like, that's the thing. It's like I've got the globe fixed, but that's exactly what I'm doing. So the tail lights are ordered.
I mean, I'll talk about it a bit later, but I said, who's determining what's roadworthy for you? How is... One question is, who's determining, to the judge, who's determining the roadworthy, and can I speak to them? Because one's will, saying the car's seatbelts work, it runs okay, it might be perfect, but it's the car I use. So the state's going to tell you, the legislation's going to try and tell you everything, and the way that they screw up life and destroy the ease and joy that's possible in society is by regulating it, and it's kind of like strangling it. So the more and more regulations you have, sure, we want regulations, but it's this two-faced sort of thing. It's this two-faced beast. And it has a good side, which at the moment is struggling with its shadow side. So the question I'd have is, who's making this stuff up about the roadworthy, and whose standards are these? Because, if the Constitution says that the will of the people, that we are the highest power, then why have we got no say in these standards? And the question is her car dangerous? No. It is roadworthy. It is worthy of the road. And if someone wants to go for a drive, you can go for a drive, she can take them for a drive and see for themselves. But if they're going to bring in all these standards and that, they're just going to do you up the butt and stop you from driving on the roads. That's how it works. So there's all these laws that say, protections and stuff, and that there's these huge penalties for doing things like you just mentioned before with the 5G. But they dress it up, so it will never be obvious when hit.
On the road safety issue, my guess is those rules to make sure that the vehicle that's on the road is going to be safe for the driver, the one in charge of the vehicle, and safe for others. And the idea is, if we don't have safe vehicles, people can get killed.
There's nothing wrong with the idea, mate. It's how the idea is used.
Yeah, but where I'm going to with this,
An idea can be used in all manner of ways.
does everybody honour the idea that they must keep their vehicle safe? And I would say no. Right, not everybody will. Most people will.
You've got
But there
cops
are
on the road to do
some
that.
people who do not honour that situation, and so that's why the rules are basically there.
But the rule,
I don't know how they can bring you up on a roadworthiness issue when there's no statute on the books about having a roadworthy certificate until you come to sell your car. So there's no requirement for you to be able to produce any documentation to state whether or not your vehicle is roadworthy. So they don't have a leg to stand on as far as that.
Yeah, that's true, but
If you were trying to sell your car, you'd have to either sell it unregistered or with a roadworthy.
Yeah.
But you're not. You just drive. You're just travelling, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the kind of information I want to have on hand, so when I'm driving around until I get this fixed. Because as of Monday, then they'll possibly be suspending the registration. So, yeah, I still need to get around. I still need to drive my son to work, so I've got to be on the road, and that's just really fearful for me to have to worry about this, especially tomorrow night. I'm travelling to Hawthorne. There's plenty of opportunities for those guys to like just turn around and come and have a bit of a,
Make your life hard.
They are. Yeah. They really are at the moment. I'm not enjoying it one bit. I just need to get my head around it a bit more.
well, this is why it's the hero's journey, because it's about dealing with authority, non-authority dealing with authority. It's an age-old issue. And authority can be seen archetypally. It's like the devil. It tests you. It will initiate you. And, if you persevere, you can get through.
I will. I'm not going to give up. No way.
But you gotta say to yourself, I think people have to ask themselves on this journey, am I going to follow all the rules? Or am I going to choose to deal with what it means not to follow all the rules? And obviously, it doesn't take much not to follow all the rules. So there's, you've got people here already driving an unregistered vehicle.
Property, not vehicle.
Property. Sorry, vehicle. Dirty word, bad word, dirty word.
Can I just correct you? They're not driving, they're travelling.
Travelling.
Driving's a legal term.
Not driving, travelling, yep. Separate the legal terms.
I think there's a problem with all this wordplay though, because to your point as well, we're the supreme authority in this. I have the right to use any damn word I please, and it will mean what I intend it to mean.
Boom, boom. That's how you speak to a judge. It will mean what I damn well
I'm
intended it
driving my
to.
car. Now, whether or not you want to interpret that as a statutory declaration, you can shove it up where it don't shine, right? Because I don't care.
That's the spirit, and that's how you talk. You speak to a copper like that, and they're just going to be like, whoa, do I want to deal with this guy? Because there's a stooge waiting in line to be, that will fall for his shit.
Yeah. I do. Sorry, I don't know what your name is, but I do agree to an extent with being female that it is more intimidating because there's big more cop. She goes right off, and like I've given lip to a cop for conflicts because he wanted to check our car, and I asked him 3 times if we'd committed a crime, and he was ropeable. He was like, young lady.
Yeah, my friend was mad at me.
Yeah, you've got to be prepared for them to get angry. It's their stuff.
But like it's more intimidating when you're a female because you're smaller, you're not physically as strong, and men are like not to be like a raging like SJW here or anything or like.
No, they stand over you.
No, they do. Yeah, men don't appreciate it when a woman's like those kinds of cops don't like it. Yeah, that's why I don't do that anymore with cops. I used to, and it ended up me getting thrown in a cell, and it just. Yeah, and they left me with no money, and it was like ridiculous, but that's why I think I want to use this as a defensive mechanism, not as a weapon. So I'm not going to go out there telling cops, I'm just going to, if someone comes to my door wanting money, I'll know what to say kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But I won't get up in their face.
But that's what she was just saying something, and he got angry. They'll still get angry. What I usually say is I say, mate, don't get angry at me. I'm not here to make your day difficult. I just don't want you looking in my car. I don't want anyone looking in my car. Would you want someone looking in your car? And so you start to appeal to them just as a man rather than the uniform. I say, I don't care about uniform. It means nothing to me. You're just some guy that's wanting to have a look in my car, the car. And it's like, leave us alone. I haven't done anything to you. And they start to kind of throws them off because you're actually appealing in a very human way, where sometimes if you just use all the legal stuff, you know what I mean? We're dealing with real creatures like ourselves.
I've made up little trespass signs to put in vehicles. Your vehicle's your property as well.
Yep.
And you've got to learn your trespass. All details of trespass.
Sorry?
You'll learn all the details about trespass then.
Learn the details
So
of
they
trespass.
say to me, what's that? I say, that's $1.5 million fine for you if you touch my car and get inside it.
Okay.
Oh, I'm not going to tell you car where today.
That's nice.
So
That is good.
Yeah.
what do you have on the sign?
Trespass sign. No, you've got to have,
Okay.
look it up on the internet.
Yeah.
Find that sign is going. I'll bring one in next time,
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
A little mini one for the car about this big, and I've got this one for the house,
So yeah,
But you've got to know what to say to them,
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Section 109 under the Constitution, actually.
Yeah.
So, could we like make up some signs just to maybe elaborate?
If I can give you a sample, you can just copy them and...
Well, what we might do is, if you're willing, what's your name, Rob?
John.
John can bring in
Yeah.
the sign
Yeah.
and what to say, and I'll write it up,
Yeah.
and then everyone's got that.
Yeah. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, if we could elaborate and have a sign say to any officers, if you wish to contract with me, this is my price, something like that.
Just trespass.
Yeah, trespass.
Trespass is a powerful word. The only reasons why rights exist, I realised, is because of trespass. Trespass is everywhere.
Yeah.
The Constitution is being trespassed by legislation. Cops are trespassing all the time. We trespass each other. Sometimes, human services are trespassing. And it's the only reason why rights need to be raised or come into existence. I mean, you wouldn't normally talk to each other about, I have these rights. It's not the kind of thing you when you're sorting things out, but when trespass occurs, rights become important.
Yeah, so that's a key word, trespass.
Yeah. And rights are there often to protect you against legislation, basically. Because like I said, it's all about the way it's used. Because they make everything legal. I mean, Hitler made everything legal. It was all legal in Germany.
Legal but not lawful.
Yeah. He overrode the Constitution. Like this, it's an interesting story. So the 20th century showed us what happens when the end result of it is that it just becomes murder and madness, and it's all organised. And suddenly all your cops and your security people are young burly guys who don't mind hurting people. That's what the SAS was, or whatever they were, the SS. Criminals, basically. People who would normally be considered criminals were now in official positions. Brother,
I'm just here because, I'm going to be driving next year, and I don't want to be stung for the wrong reasons, or at least just want to be able to defend myself as it was, and not get pulled over for the wrong reasons, or even for that get a ticket for the wrong reasons if I can avoid it, because I'm sure petrol's going to be expensive. So
just change the name.
I can already tell you will get a ticket for the wrong reason.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You rarely get a ticket for the right reasons.
Definitely not overloading.
Yeah. But yeah, if you can sort of be prepared, the more prepared you are, the better.
Exactly. I mean, I just find it really interesting as well. Like, you know, just not necessarily to be above, because I don't get any like, I don't feel like it's, you know, super beneficial if you're all above everything. But at the same time, it's kind of cool if you can kind of not get stung for it. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah, so basically it's your knowledge is power.
Exactly.
That's what's interesting about
Exactly.
it. Because we haven't had the power.
Yeah.
So that's what's so interesting.
A friend of mine has been to the Supreme Court. You're allowed to record in court, as long as you use his details. I've got it here. You just record the police, even if they don't see it, you know.
Okay.
Then you can say, you said this, you said that.
Can't you record the police anyway?
Well, they won't like it. They might kick up. Who knows what they might do, you know.
Yeah,
Are you allowed to record in?
Well, you're allowed to record in court, any level of court.
You are? I thought you weren't.
Got it right here, got it written down
Is
here.
that Bill's case?
What the president is, you know.
Okay.
So give it to
Oh,
everybody.
he went to the Supreme Court
He went all the way through and beat him.
for
There's
recording.
laws to say you're allowed to record for your own use.
Right.
And that's what it's always about, isn't it? Your own use.
Yeah. Okay.
You're not allowed to put it on the internet or this and that, but you know, you can record
Yeah,
for your own use.
Yeah, cool. That's great. I'd like to find.
They can copy it later on if you want.
Yeah. But I just wanted to, I kind of want people to sort of say something a little bit about what the hero means to them. What's this path like? Because, you know, we grow up with superheroes, we grow up with heroines, and, you know, it's all part of our culture. And I realised a long time ago that our superhero powers were partly in this area of life, in law, and that it becomes spiritual as well, and that's where the super energy can come from too, because it can get quite dark and heavy, and if you can't connect with, in a real way, a spiritual force, I found, it can destroy you. So, in a way, we're all a superhero with our own character. It's just like, you just got to rip off your social suit and see what emerges, you know.
I'm feeling pretty good at the moment. I feel like I've learned a lot in a short time, and I think it started with one of your, it started at IFTY 19 about 5G. And it was really just in the middle of winter, so a few months ago. And the thing that's kind of, I've been to Daryl's two sessions here, feeling hugely empowered actually, because a year ago I wouldn't have dreamt of writing to politicians. I've written to 14 senators, 12 MPs, the PM, and the Senate Committee on the cashless bill, all about the cashless bill. That's my gig at the moment. Yeah. And then I got one response from Senator Henderson, and I rebuked her fairly strongly. Thank you. I'm feeling great about it actually, and now so my letter didn't make it to the Senate Committee, and I'm going to tell them that, you know, I'm not taking that laying down. They need to, they're repressing my freedom of speech, so put my letter on my submission on your,
didn't they
whatever
review,
it's called.
is that being reviewed though? Because there were a lot of people
yeah,
who wrote it.
yeah, it's being reviewed, yeah. So I'm feeling really good about it, because you know, my written word is, I think, pretty good. That's my strong point.
Yep.
And I just wouldn't have done that 6 months ago, even. And then, you know, travelling home in my
Conveyance.
thanks, yeah. Last night, I reckon I got I reckon I got a radar zapped, and now I'm like, damn. I don't want a speeding fight, and it's really,
They would have to pick one
it's
of us.
really kind of
We were both
impacted how I'm
travelling.
feeling.
We were both travelling home at the same time. I was driving,
Talk.
and you guys were. Yeah, but
And so I'm really kind of going, damn, you know, now I've got to fight that one, maybe. Or maybe I don't fight it. Maybe I just buckle. But, yeah, feeling really good about the other bit.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm feeling like my own hero. Feeling like a bit of a hero.
Which is what happens when you feel like you're starting to win.
Yeah.
Or you know, you're feeling a sense of destiny moving you in the right direction.
Yeah.
I find that. But then something can come along, you can have a loss, or you know, for some people like this guy John, you know, like, or virtually like a SWAT team style thing, it's shaken him.
Yeah.
And he was feeling really on top of things because the lawyers couldn't get to him. And you have to, I think you just have to be able to kind of move through stuff. You got to be, I think, willing to kind of cop a bit.
Have a real journey.
Yeah, you know, like I know that I might end up in a jail cell at some point, but that's okay. So, you know, what it'll be like a night. I'm not likely to spend extended periods of time in jail, and if I was, it would be for something big that I'm believing in, because I think the hero's journey, you know, Gandhi took on a whole empire. You know, he was hugely supported, but he spent extended periods of time in jail. But he just ploughed. I mean, this guy was just the most incredible thorn in the side of the British Empire. They tried to slander him and all sorts of things, and he was incorruptible and unstoppable because he believed in what he was doing, and it meant a lot to a lot of people. So, you know, I am talking to some people about, you know, one day you might be able to help other people. And that's where the movie really becomes meaningful. You know, I mean, I wanted to be doing this and this is still at very early stages for what I see it eventually developing into. But I wanted to be doing this some years ago. But it wasn't the time. The universe wasn't conspiring for it. And then it just sort of happened. Now, it's not about me, it's about this thing I feel connected to, you know. For me, it's about me. But, yeah, it's the hero making, I suppose, and what it means for common people to stand up to authority and be able to say, like you did, you know, no, it's not, this is what I bloody well mean, and, you know, what you're saying is your business. One thing I do want to say regarding John, who got swamped, where he, in his situation, what brought it on was he needed to talk to the judge. He needed to be able to go in there and speak whatever he needed to say, and speak and start showing. They want to know who this guy is, you know. And sometimes they will just grab you, you know. They want to put the pressure on you. You know, it was fine for quite some time, over a year, and then it just went bang. I think it sort of spun out Danny and Mark as well. And what we're realising is it's all good to do the paper stuff and like just deal with the cops, but you need to talk to the judge. You need to prepare yourself to learn to talk to a judge and say whatever it is you want to say, you know, and show them where you're coming from in his case. Because I did a tarot reading that day, I was very demoralised. And I was like, I need to do a reading. I was helping this other woman out who's dealing with child services. You came over later, and I needed to do this reading. The first card was Virtue, 3 of discs. Three of wands. And what it was saying to me was, people have to come into this with absolute virtue and really be clear where their heart is and that their mind works with their heart. Doesn't mean you need to be always polite, or it's not a certain behaviour, but you need to show that you're a hero, that you're the good person, and that you're here because you care. You care about society, and you care about people, and you care about that. We have grievances because the negative cards were sorrow and worry. It's causing all this concern for life. The laws are meant to make us feel secure. I'm not feeling secure. And that feeling is telling me something. So when I go into court, I may talk, say it's my hearing, I'm here to address the court. And I want to say a few things regarding all this and see what comes out. There'll be some cops there, there'll be some people, friends, and whoever else. And of course the judge. And the judge should, as far as I know, the judge can't stop me. It's my hearing, it's not his court. He's just there facilitating and weighing things up or whatever. Anyway. The hero's journey.
Been reassessing a lot of things over the last few years. I'm born and raised in England, and when the Brexit thing came up, my mum gave me a call and said, you know, we're old, and this is going to affect myself, the kids, more than it will affect them, so let us know what you think and we'll put your vote down. And my instant response was, well, you know, of course we want to stay in the European Union, because why wouldn't you want to be part of the European Union? Because that's what I felt all along, as long as I can remember. I like going on holidays to France when I was a kid. It was nice. French wine's good.
As a kid.
And, you know, and all of that. But then I got thinking about it more deeply, and, you know, with that, you know, well, who would you vote for in the election in America? I came to the conclusion I'd vote for Trump. I couldn't believe that I came to that conclusion. But when the alternative's Clinton.
Anything's better than Clinton.
Right. You know, so it's like, I'd have voted for Brexit. I came to that conclusion before the vote happened, and I would have done that. I'd have voted for Trump. I'm academic by background. I've got a PhD, and I studied wind power. Big believer in it, but when Malcolm Roberts comes in and starts standing up in the Senate and talking about how climate change is a made-up hoax, my initial reaction was, what an idiot. And then I thought, hang on a second, he's been voted to the Senate. He deserves at least enough respect to consider what he's saying and to understand why he would even stand up in the Senate and say these things. So now I look at the world from a 180 degrees different point of view, where I agree. I think it is a load of made-up hogwash to serve an agenda. And I think that he's spot on. And when you start looking, and you peel it back and you peel it back. I've been following the QAnon thing.
The what?
QAnon. So QAnon popped up the end of 2016 on an internet forum called 4chan. It started making claims that big important people were going to get arrested in the States. And just questioning everything, not giving answers, just asking questions, asking questions, asking questions. And providing information, and providing photographs, providing tidbits, seeding information that then comes to pass, suggesting that things are happening without directly saying it. And if you look at the impeachment inquiry that's going on there at the moment, if that goes ahead, the consequences of that for the Democrat Party will be catastrophic. Trump will get re-elected in a landslide, and the Democratic Party will will all end up in jail or hung.
I wish.
Well, I wish too. and this person who hasn't revealed his identity goes by the moniker QAnon and has posted 1,000 times in the last couple of years and continues to post. The move to 8chan. 8chan was taken down. Their internet services were revoked by somebody for some reason.
Can you put it into a nutshell?
Sorry. One of the things that they said, because they relate it to spirituality as well, and they quote the passage from the Bible about wear the armour of righteousness. And I went to ask the Telstra chairman my impertinent question about liability with 5G. And as I'm walking in, it felt like I was walking into the bear trap. I felt, what the hell am I doing? I shouldn't be here. But I felt the armour of righteousness upon me. Because I posted this on the 5G Melbourne site and said, let's get there, everybody turn up, we can make it. I was the only person. I was the one person that turned up. But I knew that was what I needed to do. I knew I was right.
Yeah.
So I walked in there, and I stood up against this idiot, and I asked him the question. He admitted liability, and I got it on record. Now, will anything happen with that? I don't know. But I knew that it was the right thing to do, even though, at the time, you are questioning everything about yourself. And then you look deeper and it's fine.
Yeah. So I'm seeing qualities of the hero. Clarity of mind and determination of mind. Courage and action. Facing fears. These are the qualities of heroes. And they're all human qualities.
So, I feel like this is all just a big soul test, and we're going to see how much immoral behaviour we'll put up with. And as long as we stay silent, then we're acquiescing to the immoral behaviour of government.
Yeah.
So, but I also know I've got to pick my battles, and it's not me fighting one-on-one with cops.
Yeah.
Because that just doesn't work for me. But I think using it as knowing your rights and knowing, what an assault is, and it's important.
Yeah.
And it's simple. It's really quite simple. It's just if someone's harming you or preventing you from exercising your rights, then that's not okay. And that's what it comes down to. And if everybody just lived with that mentality, then we could change things pretty quickly. But it feels good when you, like you said, when you just do what's right. And when you actually put it into action, when you have the knowledge, you put it into action. But it doesn't mean necessarily getting in a fight with cops, every cop you see. You gotta pick your battles.
You can put it into writing after the event.
Yeah, see, I'm better with, I'm
Do
really...
you want to go to court? Don't worry about that, just write to them.
Yeah, exactly.
Put it on an affidavit,
Yeah,
get it signed,
yeah,
and we said it at least 3 times.
cool. Yeah, the
And
3
just
times.
Point out who the sergeant is and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Don't get signed by if at the police station.
Okay. But I also see the whole legal system as ultimately a fiction, like it's just things written down. It's not real. It's only real to the extent that we go along with it, but that's kind of like a different...
There's a lot that's not real, that's the thing.
Yeah.
So we rely on fictions as human
it's
beings.
just playing a game.
Just part of...
Yeah, we could all
being...
stop playing the game, but while it's still in operation, we need to know how to weave our way through it.
I think if you write within 3 days, you haven't accepted what you've done.
Yeah.
Otherwise you have, if you don't.
Okay.
Yeah, you sound like you got some good approaches.
What we're doing is about 6 years just here and here all over the place,
Yeah, cool. We'll talk later because I might be able to do one of these where we do a few of these key things that you.
Should get Sam up here too, he knows a fair bit.
Who?
Sam, do you know Sam?
No. One man's
Some
enough.
people here do.
One man's enough. So spiritual purpose. It's another quality of the hero. The spiritual purpose and the soul. And then clarity of mind you sort of mentioned. But I think spiritual purpose is another important one for me, and probably for a lot of people. And I think even if you're an atheist, my father is an atheist, and I'm not a religion. I don't follow a religion, but I believe the universe is dimension. I've seen the universe as dimensional, and Dad sees the universe through science, which is just this dimension. And look, that's fair enough. I'm not here to convert him to anything. But he once said, "I'm spiritual," and something clicked, and I was like, "Yeah, he has spirit. There's something in his humanity that's bigger than science." Like he said, like it's why I like poetry is, I can't explain it. It's something beyond what I can understand in my head. So there's, the force of life, even for an atheist, can be just spirituality itself. Joy, feelings, love, organic life.
So you like poetry, reading others or creating?
My father said that.
No. Oh, sorry, that's what he said.
I like poetry too.
Okay.
If I get some written, it's great. We all know where you're coming from. But anyway.
Well, my standpoint is the hero is fixed and it doesn't move anymore because I found out who I truly am and I don't have any fears anymore. Yeah, so it's this simple. I've never voted for anyone because I don't need another man telling me what to do, I don't need anyone trying to control my life. I didn't come with a remote. And I don't care what anyone else says or what position they're in. I don't give a damn. We're all created equal under the eyes of God, and that's something I heard as I was a boy. Yeah, that stuck with me ever since. And then I was asking, why is it then that there's all this authority? And then I eventually realised, holy shit, there is no authority. We are the authority. We're the authors of our own life, unless you're foolish enough to hand the pen over to someone else.
Okay, great.
So I don't care anymore. I've gotten to the point.
Well, I think it's that you do care, but you care about the right thing.
Yeah, I care about the right thing. I want to inspire people to, live life in their own sort of way, right? Without anyone telling them what to do. So it's this simple. I don't let anyone tell me what to do. I don't let a damn piece of paper tell me what to do. And if anyone wants to give me an order, I'll take it if they're willing to pay a bill. And, when it comes to me and my property, I don't give a shit about what some statute says, I'll simply say, how dare you trying to tell me what to do with my property? Piss off. Yeah, I just don't give a damn. I'm at the end of my tether. I can't register my cars anymore because I don't feel right doing it. I feel like a hypocrite. I've gone too far, I know too much.
So what's the qualities I'm seeing there is the hero is unique and self-determined, but principled. You can be like that as long as your principles are good. Because if you're going to be an example in society, you might need to work on some of your language, if you're ever giving a speech to humanity. But you'll get it. I'm not here to be told what to do. But, this is what I care about for everyone. That I'm self-determined, and and so is everyone else, and I'm responsible for my own actions, and don't need to be treated like a goddamn baby by some spectrous state that doesn't really have any substance, So I think, the unique self-driven person who's got high principles.
Breaking out of that two-dimensional world, that fictional paper, that maybe I didn't realise that. Someone said that to me 2-3 years ago, what are you talking about? But now that I see it, I have my old two-dimensional friends think I'm with you, and there's the awakened three-dimensional and above people that see things for what they are.
yeah, seeing things for what they are. It's funny, you know, how, yeah, everyone's sort of been polluted by this sort of two-dimensional reality of fictional knowledge, and that it sort of starts at school with the best of intentions, no doubt. And then when you get older, you know, when it comes to law, really when it comes to legalese, it all starts to fuck your head, and the ideas of following all the rules. And eventually, I think just beliefs, you know, you can have beliefs and then they pile up on reality, and you stop seeing reality properly. And that can happen to anyone very easily, even people who get into this law stuff. You know, I try to tell people, it's not about what should be, it's the way it is. You've got to understand what you're dealing with. Don't go in thinking it's all going to play by certain rules. The rules are fucking all over the place. So just see things for how they are. You know, if a cop gets angry, he's just getting angry, you know. If he's using some legislation, then you might need to deal with the legislation. Like it can always be moving, like Alice in Wonderland. That story was written by a very smart man about using a little girl who's in a world inspired by England, where everyone's just got their own trip going, you know. And the Queen, of course, being the authority, is just like chopping people's heads off all over the place, like demanding all this kind of stuff. But all these other characters just kind of do a heading, because it's all about the rules changing depending on who you're talking to. And that's the world we live in. That's why that book is still so popular.
That's why the term down the rabbit hole is so popular.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's used a lot.
Yeah.
A lot these days.
Yeah.
Much more than it used to be.
Well, they've remade the movie, and it's been quite big lately. What's the meditation of the hero? Yeah. The inner.
Clara.
The inner.
All right, I thought you were pointing out.
It's all good. It's all good. That inner meditation, reflection.
Thomas, can you give us a conclusion to what happened with John? I missed who John was.
There is no conclusion. He's having to reevaluate everything.
He's incarcerated, or?
No. He was for a night. And he's starting to feel, maybe I shouldn't have done this, and I'm hoping to have a chat to him. I'm like, look, you need to understand how to use certain things, because the stuff that Danny and Mark do, it kind of reached its limitation of, you know, how effective it is. And he needs to maybe become a bit interested in how you assert rights, just for his situation.
Is John aware of the avenue that Daryl has talked about?
No. He'd be vaguely aware of it. Like I said, I'm hoping to have a conversation with him, and that will be a beginning of his journey in a new direction, because he's going to need to prepare himself to speak to the judge and show his virtue. I was happy to talk to the woman, but she started using agents. I don't want to talk to lawyers, I just want to talk to people in a civilised manner, you know. And he needs to show himself, and the judge will see that.
Good question that maybe you can all consider. Has anybody looked at the limitations that the system Daryl's talking about has got inherent in it?
I've not found, I've been just looking at how I can use it lately, and I've got some recordings of talks with Darren Dixon, who was working with Daryl. He was happy to talk to me. And it was gold listening to some of this stuff that Darren said, because he's like, you know, the government, the Commonwealth government does not have the powers. There are no powers for it to create corporations, only administer them. So it's been creating all these corporations, and it's simply not allowed to do it. There are no powers, and they did FOIs. So I'm more interested in looking at, you know, how I can use it. And I think with that stuff Mark and Daniel does, which is more like questioning the basic presumptions of anything, like you say, the word will mean exactly what I bloody well intended to. And if that means something different to you, that's your business.
Can we get Daryl down here sometime? I mean, not Daryl, the other one.
Darren Dixon.
Darren, yeah.
I'd like to.
I know.
Yeah, I'd like to. But the group's just needing to be, you know, established. It's all quite new, and I think things will lead to that.
I did get some feedback from Greg Francis that says he's perfectly happy to consider explaining his technique here.
I mentioned it, and he was at one point interested, and then he wasn't. That guy's very, very unstable in terms of where he's at. So I'm not really wanting to get too involved. I know people that know him very well, and I think he's brilliant. This guy's done things that other people haven't. And on his Centrelink card, it's man living in body. And he drives around without a number plate. And but he's been treated terribly in the past. He's been abducted. Apparently, he's been abducted for days. They were drugging him. So he's been through the ringer. I mean, that guy's a hardened hero. But he's very, very good. I've got a lot of his stuff on a document that he writes. His rants are fantastic if you know a little bit of stuff. Just to read, they kind of get you into the headspace. And yeah, he shares them, so if anyone wants to check him out, you know.
What's his name?
Good stuff. His name's Greg Mann Francis on Facebook.
Guy in the messenger group.
Yeah, he came on and then split. I don't think he's up for, I think he can be a bit shy, but then he can be kind of loud on his...
And how far away does he live?
St Andrews.
St Andrews.
St Andrews down the beach or up near Patton Hill?
I don't know.
Oh, I thought
Near
it was
Patton
Patton
Hill.
Hill.
Okay,
Patton Hill.
Yeah.
yeah. We're going there on Sunday.
Okay. You should contact him. But if it, you know, he's worth friending on Facebook, and that might be where his comfort zone is. And I think he likes a little bit of attention, so yeah, it's worth friending and checking out his rants. And he'll have a chat and stuff. I might let him know, you know. Is anyone interested in sort of friending him? Because I might let him know if...
I'm not big on Facebook. I like to meet him and have a chat.
Why don't you just get him down here and see what happens?
I can ask him, yeah.
Yeah, still learn something.
Yeah. Yeah. Does everyone want a tea break or a sweet?
Coffee.
Anyone want to make a tea? Everyone? Cool.
This hero is trying to resist. Reload.
Yeah.
Trying to resist the chocolate.
Yeah, good on that.
Got enough holes in my teeth.
Well,
Yeah, maybe a glass of chocolate.
yeah, fine.